random 4 versus 4 action. And hello indeed. So let's have a quick squiz of doing the whole team shuffling, make sure the columns and everything are all set how I like them to be, and just have a brief look at the map. How much reclaim is there? Well, it's 10,000 reclaim. It's kind of spread all over the place, so there's no real massive king to fight, but there's lots of mass extractors. Look at all those lovely green dust lying around. Anyway, we have team 1 across here at the top, team 2 on the bottom right. Let's have an introduction to these guys. First off, going for team number 1 in the yellow color, down in the corner, off to the side even, it is Vism Privet. Probably going to call him Privet from here, easier than Vism. Anyway, he is Aeon, he is yellow, and you can see he's having to build some pigeons because there's no Hydra nearby. His teammate directly upwards from him, it is the Wreck. We all know the Wreck, we've seen him before. Anyway, he's Seraphim, an electric brew. He's popped down his factory, slapping down a pigeon, and looks like that is his plan to factory max and the pigeons, and he's got the engineers off doing stuff. Teammate beside him, it is Shokaku. Shokaku is another Aeon player for team number 1. He is in the lavender color and he's getting good old adjacency because his factory down, 2 pigeons are up, and second mix is being built. So he's getting there, and he does have a Hydra to play with as well. So he's the only player with a Hydra. He'd better be going air. And last but not least, all on his lonesome, all the way over here, oddly, not here on these mixes, it is Azeros. Azeros is the second Seraphim for team number 2. He's in the light blue color. And so that is going to make it 2 Aeons, 2 Seraphims for team number 1. And that is going to be fun times. He got his first factory down, got some pigeons, getting some mass extractors, and unfortunately did a wee bit of a walk there to pick up this mix, which is not so great. Alright then, let's have an introduction then of team number 2. First off, team number 2 over here in the white. As white can be color, it is Tassin. Tassin is UES and he is walking away, heading up towards the top. Beside Mr. Tassin, it is Glassy. And he's UEF as well in a cyan color. Got his first factory down, getting some pigeons down for adjacency, and another factory and an air factory planned, all the adjacency in the world for this setup here. And beside him helping out, it is going to be Zaznoba. Zaznoba is Cybran, first Cybran of the day, and he's in a red color doing the whole adjacency thing again. There we go, he's got more planned down here. Looks like engineers putting up the pigeons so he can grab the air factory beside the Hydro. And last but not least, definitely not least, being the highest rated player in the game, it is Tex. And Tex is Aeon. He's in a dark green, so that is a kind of more rounded factions for team number 2. We've got 2 UEF, 1 Aeon, and 1 Cybran. No Seraphim to speak of. However, we'll see how that pans out for them. Anyway, Tex is getting to work on a second lane factory, and he's already got some scouting going over this way, looking for to catch maybe some engineers coming for a run, or just really getting some early intel and some protection for this NG who's trying to grab the mass extractors. And there are a few larger rocks around to grab, which looks like they are eventually planned by this guy. I'm going to be surprised if he gets all the way there and picks those up though. Be a wee bit of a surprise if it had some neutral buildings around, but they are possibly not really worth much reclaim. Often these civilian buildings look nice, but the actual mess you get out of them are kind of limited. That's pretty neat actually. Those are like gardens, greenhouses, garlics, who knows. Somebody designed it, somebody had fun. Checking out how things are going there, we have a Mech Marine has got a couple of kills. It's picked off a couple of NGs up this way. I'd imagine maybe a scout and an NG. Either way, those are both dead. They're now running away for their lives because a Tham is chasing them down. Tham has got a lock onto them and is not stopping, which means they can't afford to stop either because they will die to Tham badness. Tham does eventually turn away, and now these guys are actually free to redirect maybe towards these engineers. That would be fun. But a T1 bomber has come out from Tassin, and that is going to think about slowing down that Tham perhaps. Wouldn't be a bad idea because all he's got to defend against the Tham is a Mech Marine. And that just simply isn't going to work. More Thams are rolling down. It's going to be a bit of a problem. Up here we can see NGs are on the expansion for Azeros, and they're going to be found by a different Mech Marine. He can come on over and kill these things off and then get a radar kill as well while he's at it. Will he loiter for the NG kill is the question. The answer is, well, yes. And then it's going to be the radar following in suit. Then another NG is up here that is exposed to another Marine. But this is going not so great for Tassin. He's getting some support though from Glassy, walking up with a couple of T1 tanks to maybe start shooting at Thams, or they can just sit there and there. Might be the advantage I need with the first shot getting on there, so the Tham's going to die, but there are reinforcements coming in and there's not a lot to slow them down, although the reinforcements have stopped because this mech marine over here has picked off some more NGs and stopped the production. Almost got the mass extractor. Very nearly, almost, not quite. And lo and behold, this engineer has survived long enough to grab those extra rocks because of reinforcing units pushing out front from techs. Alright. Raid down here has finally stopped. There's no engineers nearby. Well, there's one. Popping down a radar just for a bit of extra intel, which is always handy. And we can see up this way it is Tassin's comm wandering up towards the top right. No unit support though. But that's okay. There's no units coming back at him. They've been really commander gated then, I would presume, from the exploded bit. That's fine, no dramas down here though. We see Shokaku is moving up with this comm. He's getting towards the middle. Is not quite focusing air yet. Hasn't even built an air factory. He's got the layout for one, but he hasn't finished it. Never mind, there we go. Just as I say that, he starts it. Okay, we're good. Over here we see Auroras facing off against some Auroras, so it's a bit of an Aeon howdy doody against each other. That would be an interesting little fight to have. But there's, looks like a single Tham's come down here, has maybe killed off a different Tham or an engineer perhaps. Well, kind of looks Tham shaped, doesn't it? A couple of tank treads on the side, so I think it actually killed a Tham. This has Tham's died from something else and has killed something else. Who knows? You know, some drops coming in from Zaznova, but those are just engineers, so he's probably just going for the mass. Literally pockets of massive rocks around the place to go for, and why not? But there's a fair amount of spam coming out from Azeroth, and there is not a fair amount of spam to defend it. Still sticking with some labs here, and that might be an awful idea. This bomber needs to start working on defensive duties. Needs to start killing off some of these if it can. There should be able to, because there's no yay in the mix. There are a couple of interceptors back this way, and that's a drop coming down from Azeroth. And is he just dropping for the sake of dropping, or is he actually planning to drop? Is he just going for the mass to pick up? Well, whatever it is, he has got 3 NGs and they are slapping down a T1 PD first off, so that is actually a drop of intent, and that might be a miss. Tricks a couple of NGs back here. There's a bomber trying to get over. It really wanted to drop some bombs on those guys. It really did. That would have been quite handy, but the T1 PD goes down. Now that's going to be an issue. Now it's going to make it slightly more difficult to get anything out of there. Not enough units from Tassin, and he's getting a little overrun at the moment. Gonna have some problems over here. Let's have a check just on the opposite side of things. We have gun upgrade going down for Privet. He does have plenty of spam with his commander as well, so he should be okay. Radar was slapped on down by Zaznova, but that is well within range of T1 ID, so it's not going to last very long. In fact, oh, was that missing? Wow. Wow. There we go, finally. Finally the Furvers actually hit the damn thing, but it is dead, and they're just dead. Right, in the middle though, we have overwhelming numbers from Zaznova. He's going to be able to take on these tanks from the wreck and hold that spot. Reinforcements here coming up from Glassy, but Glassy might need to think about doing somewhere else, and perhaps supporting poor old Tassin. He was up here of course with his commander, with some units. He got a factory down, got the mass extractors, but he is running into the issue of 3 factories on his doorstep. And they are just going to wipe over all this here. There's an engineer, there's a hydro, there's 4 mixers. That is well worth the kill, but in comes Tassin's comm. He needs to be a wee bit careful perhaps. There are reinforcements always coming out of these factories, and there is a T1 PD, but that's not the only problem. The other problem is the extra spam coming on in, that Azeroth is really overrunning Tassin right about now. All these units are just pouring in, and they're going to do huge amounts of damage. Up here we can see Tassin has stopped with this comm, is taking some free Zooey fire, though he does get on the move again and starts taking a few more. Wants to stop that from happening. The point defense goes down, he's going to have a really bad time of it, but looks like his comm is now focusing the NGs, and that won't complete, so that is very fortunate for him. Just have a quick check. He's going to be fighting to try and claim that territory back. In the middle, what do we have going on? Well, we see Tex pushed all the way up here with his comm. Right on up, he's managed to shoo the units away from Privet, whose comm is down here. He's got double gun on his commander, wants to start using it. Really wants to start using it to push back this way perhaps. In the middle though, really spearheading is Zazanova, though he might run into a similar size force and which could cause issues. He is getting gun upgrade on his commander, so he just needs to keep these units at bay for the time being. And this is Glassy. He's abandoning his position by units because he has to come and help out over here. Tassin is in dire straits at the moment. He is 100% overrun and having issues trying to get some work done with a T1 bomber, but there is anti-air on the ground. There are interceptors out there as well, and he did looks like a fast tech rush. He's got some T2 engineers out and they're trying to get some point defense down. They did do some T1 PD up here, but unfortunately that has died to Zui's. And now, when you got units in your base, you know it's bad. You know it's bad, but there are supporting units coming over from Glassy, plenty of them as well. They should be able to help oust all of these, especially if all they didn't finish. I thought maybe the T1 PD would get completed, but it doesn't. A pillar is off the rails though, so that T2 finally on the field in the form of units, and there's some reclaim to be had. I don't know, it was a good push, almost really would have succeeded if not for the reinforcements from Glassy. So just whole evidence of this is a team game, and it absolutely helped out there to clean that off. Right up here we can see that, is that a capture command? I think it's a capture command. No, changed his mind. Oh no, he was capturing it, but somebody control K'd the factory. And now, it's still got the capture beam on. The capture beam had glitched because of the factory being control K'd from under him by his opponent, so he still had the beam coming off his commander. That was hilarious. Walk around with the Zorchi beam. I do wonder if he's going to capture this one though. The answer is yes, and now he has Seraphim deck. So that is all the tech. Well, team number one, they have every tech available to them. Start popping out some engines and you'll be a happy boy. There's all the reinforcements coming from Glassy, and that will be exactly what Tassin needs to survive. He will be okay, and now he has the opportunity to kill off Factory and keep that one going. Let's have a check down here though, and yes, this is about what was expected. Rampant guncom with units, and Privet is pushing right on up this way. There's not much here to stop him. In fact, there's kind of sweet fuck all. Got a couple of TMDs, but there's no tech missiles in this group. And honestly, Vism could actually push on up with this. Not even, excuse me, not even any point defense. There's a T2 PG going up, and those look like they might actually be Oblivions. They're definitely going to be wanted with this coming. In fact, here it comes now. We're going to see a storage go down pretty quickly. Not enough units anymore. Field is going on up, but trickling in new units little bit by little bit into a wall of opponents is never a grand idea. And I doubt he's got radar with those, so probably can't actually see what he's going up against to get too close. Indeed, you know, he can't see that there's a large group of units. And that is a lot of factories though. A lot of factories. I wonder if he knew that Texcom was up here, would he have pushed his own commander up? He could have made some big inroads there, but Bolivian is starting to go down, and is that T3 already? Oh my word. We're 12 and a half minutes into the game, and Tex has T3 factory already. That could be interesting. We'll see how... That's maybe why he's got so few units. He is trying to push up this way though, running into a huge swarm. Gonna get nowhere with that. Up top here we see that Azeros has switched tactics. Instead of pushing down through this gap, he is moving this way instead. He has a far larger force, and he should be able to walk over what is here and get right back to the factory. Okay, as for the rest of it, how is your recovery, Tassin? Well, recovery is coming along. He does have the mixes rebuilt, is getting an upgrade on this one. Definitely trying to get back into the game there after the attacks is kept him quite on down. Tassin, Azeros, gonna take. We've got T2 air coming out from Azeros. He's got his PG done, and he's got that is Volthus, so he's actually working on some gunships out of there. I'm hearing T2PD as well. So something's having to go there. Oh, hello to the tech launcher. And is that the first missiles coming on out? Yes, it is. Do we have any kind of TMD? No, we don't. And the tech missiles are on the way. The assistance on that from the commander means it's loading missiles very, very quickly. And we can see one T2 mix down there. You can see a second T2 mix about to go pop. And there's a third missile on the way. Is there going to be a fourth? Well, this is launching, so there could very well be. But we see TMD has been thrown up by the wreck, so we see the C-nose tech missiles coming. Will it be enough to shoot it down? Yes, it will. In the end, it's only managed to kill off 2. That's extractors over there, and Tech's forward with his comm. He has got shield and he has got gun range, but not speed, and speed is kind of what you might want when you're getting swarmed by units. Does have some shields around him though, and which will help keep these units alive, and heal some overcharging will help thin out the numbers there. I think he should be okay. Might want to turn around and overcharge the airship though. That would be a prime target for that. And down here we can see that the sniper bots, well, they were pushing on out, but the push on out has been a terrible idea because they've just walked into swarms of T1, and that is a whole host of T1 artillery, and the sniper bots overkill much. Not like Percy's fighting T1 units, massive amounts of damage, but very, very bad otherwise. And oh, that's a swarm. Absolutely charging her from Zaznova, taking the pressure off Tex, who was looking okay, to be honest. His commander is alright, does have the shield, does have overcharge. And a word. Oshib is getting work done against the swarm, but of course it is a swarm, there's lots of them. It means those Oshibs are going to take a fair amount of damage, and every time they get stunned as well from Medusa fire, that just reduces their DPS a whole lot. In fact, there's bombers coming overhead from Shokaku, and they have been actually doing the stun on the Oshibs, and that's just making things even worse. But checking out down here, and hello, swapping out the sniper bots for harbingers, that is a pretty darn good idea. They're much more rapid fire, and they are very, very effective against T1. But we've got T1 swarms coming on in, and it's going to be tech versus numbers. Going to try and keep an eye on that even as we do this massive push coming up the middle, and well, the push has kind of petered out. A little bit running some T2 PD back here, running some Ushvas back here, some supporting T2 and shields there from Chukaku as well, and that is going to be a hold in that section. But these guys, they split off, and there's not much to stop them pushing up this way. No PD, only a few units. They can actually romp on through if they decided to just sally forth. Checking out the right hand side, and there's been a small pushback from Tessin. It's got some T2 units up on the top section here, just wanting to move things back and claim a bit of ground of his own. His commander is moving up once again towards the side. Let's see if he gets cut off again this time, though probably not, judging from, never mind. Hello, run through. And can they pull off the T2 mix? Therein lies the question. It's mostly just Sam's doing their thing at the moment. There are some Zoos, and if they can lob some shells over, the T2 mix will die horrible death, just like that one did. And the answer is, can they focus it down? So the question is, can they focus it down? And the answer appears to be yes. There's enough shells coming over. They are gonna. Sparky turns up. He starts having to go at these Zoos, because why not? He's a Sparky man. I got a gun. I can fight. Though sitting still when there's Zooey fire is not a good idea for fighting. Does get himself a couple of kills though. It's hilarious from Sparky. And speaking of T3 Titans, they're going to be able to chase these things down and clean them up pretty quick smart. Down this way, and those Harbingers have been doing grand old work. Let's check this out. 58 kills for this guy, 42 for him, 54 for him, 24 there, so we are looking at about 150 kills, 160 kills between these 4 units. Cleaning up this T1 swarm coming in. As long as they keep moving, they will be fine. A couple did die back here. There was a sniper bot, there was a Harbinger, but now the critical numbers have gotten better. And it is going to be more than enough Behold that. The spam is not working, sir, and all you're doing right now is feeding mass. Maybe not such a good idea. Right, back here we can see there's some T2 power planned on, and maybe you want to think about shifting that to T3. Upgrades are going on down. What has happened here? Looks like a bunch of control Ks and reclaims, and maybe there's been some tech attacks because it's kind of behind. Well behind the rest of the class. I do wonder. This launcher did change targets. It has killed 9 items. We know it only killed a few mass extractors over here, so I very much suspect it got redirected over in this direction. We can see just so much control K and reclaimer buildings. He was obviously mass short. Sad to have missed all of that. Right in the middle though, what do we have? We have heavy shield going down on Tex, being massively assisted. Of course, that makes him store power. He has got sniper boss for the assistance. We have Zesnoba with the stealth gun upgrade, so can't be seen by radar, but can be seen as soon as something flies over. He'll have a bad time. He's got some anti-air with him, which is always advisable at this stage of the game, and thereby also is Glassy. T2Com just slapped down some PD, so they're going to start shooting things out, but PD does not outrange mobile missile launchers. But here we go. This is Zasnova firing up and getting some shots out, getting some overcharges in. That will help thin the numbers out from there. Sniper bots as well, they're going to do a grand old thing, and Tex just walks straight into T2 PD. I mean, I know he's got the heavy shield and all that, but at some point you're going to think maybe that's a bad idea. In fact, as soon as those PD open up on him, he's going to have a really bad time. They're currently focusing down the shields, and between the two commanders, the mobile shields and the gun upgrades, but that's a strat. Whoa. You do not want to keep loitering when there's a strat around. It goes for the sniper boss. It did not like the sniper, and it's taken a huge amount of damage as that strap bomber lost half his health just to take out that sniper bot. This will be worth it. The sniper bot is quite nasty, and defending interceptors plus some ASS come out from the wreck. They're going to shoo away these inties of Zasnova. In fact, they're going to just clean those things out of the sky. And that is going to give the strat bomber a bit more time to do as it sees fit, as long as it doesn't keep flying over flak. But what's it going for now? Well, the bomb's away and kills a whole host of things as well as the T2 Pigeon. Still doesn't have a rank of veneracy. 200 health left on that thing. And down it goes thanks to some I'm sure there was a SAM or T3 anti-air somewhere. That missile came out of something. And anyway, it's all down the tomb. There we go. Bit of a redeemer up there. Maybe that fired that single missile. Takes a long bit of a travel time, but it got there in the end. Still, another strat out from the wreck. And you can see down here this pushback from Tech. So he has sent his T3 and rocked him up. Good evening, Hesky, sorry. Nice to see you. But now this strat is coming on in, and as long as it keeps moving, it doesn't loiter around T3 anti-air, it should be okay. Bombs away, and it's going to kill a shit ton of engineers, because that's the T3 mass extractor, so it's going to survive. Needs to do the whole bomb T2 mix to get away. Look at the damage coming off that. There we go. Bombs ahoy. This one's going to go down. And keep flying in a straight line where you're being chased by interceptors, and you'll be okay. Next bomb is planned, and maybe? Oh dear, that's a lot of power to lose. It's a lot of power to lose. Two T2 pigeons and a support factory going up. That bomb, we have 25 kills on this guy, and another bomb out. We're going to see more damage. 29 kills. This bomber has been far more successful than the previous one. And that is a semi-upgraded T2 mass extractor, so that's a big loss there. Having a bad time with that. 34 kills. And still going. Might as well just pick off anything I can. Any T2 mixes loitering around the place. My word, it's having a grand old time, isn't it? Another bomb out. Is that another T2 mix going down? Yes, it is. Ryan killing off a couple of factories, 3 factories as well. Why not? If they're all grouped together, they're worth hitting. And is this another T2 mix we're going to see go down? Look at this thing. It is now 3 ranks of veterancy. 14,000 mass killed and still going. Some inties do catch up to it briefly, but it just carries on in a straight line. And what's it going for this time? I think we're going to see this over here. No, more power. Putting off more power on Zasnova, so that's going to be hurting Zasnova quite a bit. Now going for eco back here, for which has been handed over to Glassy, or he grabbed himself, no idea. Slows down to turn, which could be a mistake. Can it get out of range of these entities in time, or is it going to get finally shot down with 54? 59 kills, and it runs into a bunch of ASFs, finally goes down. What has that done to the eco? We have a look. That's put Team 2 right behind all that bombing. The eco was closer. In fact, Team 2 was ahead in total eco, but now the generation, they are 130 behind. Thanks to that bombing run, all the eco are killed off. Brutal. Down here we see a Percival getting surrounded by Ushibas. I mean, every shot of fires can basically kill one, but there's just too many to deal with when they do die, and these can push into the base over here. They could start killing off a whole bunch of build power. Just makes life miserable, but they're going for another mass extractor. That's just brutality. Absolute brutality. But they might have lost all that eco, but they have so much ground. Over here we see the combined forces of Tex and Cisnova pushed right on up. However, we now have sniper bots come out from the wreck, and that basically means it is time for your commanders to go home. You cannot stay at the front anymore, because those sniper bots will have a bad time for you. But speaking of bad times, Rivet getting pushed on the left hand side. The bottom of his base is wide open. There's nothing to slow these down. Got a couple of Oblivions over here, but he's going to need to get his commander back on down with some overcharges. Please tell me he's got access to overcharge. He does, fortunately. So he's got a couple there, energy storage sitting over there, and he will be able to overcharge these and help take them out. But they're not going to take too long to butcher all this build power to take out the Oblivion turrets as soon as they're done. Does get 3 up, and the question is, how long is it all going to survive? Well, the commander has been the workhorse here, has been knocking things out of the, well, knocking things out basically. The overcharges have been invaluable to slow these down. Has got some sniper bots which can absolutely help, but still. There we go, another max extractor down there, and still a couple of harbingers and some anti-air was alive. Now it's just a couple of harbingers, but there's plenty of them to kill, and more on the way. Things go a bit quiet. Hello, this has been a run by from Azeroth, so he's just snuck straight through somewhere, somehow. These units have just simply wandered on through. No real opposition, and they can actually walk down here and obliterate basically everything. Some engineers are spamming up some T1 PD, because, oh, a lot of T1 PD, and wall sections just directly in front to try and slow that down. Air comes on in though, and that's a bunch of stingers. They're very much going to be quite welcome at trying to thin out the Harbinger numbers. Asylum, not Parachute, moves into maybe the wrong place. Get a shield over to help this one alive, and now they are walking in range of mass extractors. They're going to have a bad time of it, but at the same time, these guys have split off in this direction. They're going to run into a bit more resistance in the form of Harbingers and Blazes and stuff like that, but they could focus down their mass extractor. Probably a better idea to do so than try to take on the units. But the Asylum does move on over to try and take care of that, keep things alive. But now's the time to focus it down. Down goes the T3 Max. And then come the Stingers. Maybe they can get this one. Maybe. Although their numbers are dwindling quite rapidly. The mass extractor is dying fairly quickly. Some Obsidians left. Can the Alpha be enough to kill it? 240 health left. One more shot. Maybe. Oh, stays alive just. 240 health. That's really not much health at all. Alright, and over here we can see exactly what's happened. Those sniper bots are now having a grand old go at everything. Down this way it is Tex still moving around with this commander, but still wants to be careful. We do have a few sniper bots here and another 4 up this way. If they combine, they could shed his health and that shield quite rapidly. It would not take long. Okay. So Tex is focused on this midsection now. He's finished his pushing up this way, has decided to leave it alone. Let's check the opposite side, and ooh, we have a wee bit of a forward base here, and that's Tassin. He's got T2 on his commander, so there must be a T3 engineer somewhere around there that's built that for him. There it is right behind him. Ravager, some T1 PD, some anti-air, black, but he's getting the billion yoke on his commander, so keep an eye out for that. Over here we can see units pushing up from Tassin as well, so he's got a Titan in the mix here. Happy bunch of T2 and T3 with a couple of T2 units and T1 sprinkled through. and they're going to come up. Well, they're not going to have a great time trying to take on Othams at all. Any Titan push into those is going to have a terrible time of it. And in fact, it's going to be a counter push from Azeroth. Those Othams are going to be able to wade through those units with ease. But there was a mobile T3 arty, and yep, there we go. Tessin has decided he does not want that to get caught out, which is exactly what was going to happen should it keep moving. In fact, he does lose a T3 arty there. Not so good. Okay. Well, there's what Tex has been doing. He's been running around with his comm, been distracting up this way with the backup force of units behind him. He slowed down, almost stopped the production out to the left because he was doing a GC which is basically done. Stands up, ready to go. Does nothing. In a moment now, he's going to start walking. In a moment now. Anyway, that's done, and it's good to go. Do we have any counter? Oh, there we go. We do have a Thota that's ready. It's basically just finishing off right now, and if Tex is still up front when that Thota turns up, he's going to have a very bad time of it. Does not want to stay around there. We have another experimental up this way. It's a GC from Shokaku, sorry, and that is 75% done, almost. It's definitely getting there, and this is a push, question mark? Not really. We have a Riptide running into some T2PD and a couple of Othams. It does have a shield with it, but honestly a shield's no good when it comes to all the rest of it. Shield's going to drop, that's going to die, and then the pillar's going to be next. Alright, down here we see T3, the Othams are ready. They've come to say hello, and look at them just basically carve their way through all this T1. T1 is terrible against Othams. They have multiple weapons, rapid fire, good damage, and in fact they do pretty much the same to Titans as well. But not so great there. Have a look at the air in the middle though. That's a lot of stingers and a lot of ASS from Glassy. So Glassy has been very heavy into the air game, and these Harbingers are just getting death by 1,000 paper cuts. So they're going to have to include anti-air in their ground mixes, like you can see over here. We have some flak, and I think I saw some lightning tanks somewhere as well. I could be mistaken, but that is enough from that group to hold those things at bay. Right, this push has gotten all the way through. So again, Azeroth pushes through this little gap here and finds minimal resistance, which means he can just carry on going. And yes, it might be Percival, but when you're up against a number of Othams, you're gonna not do so good. And well, what's in the base? Sweet buckle. These guys can actually push right into the space and do a grand old time. There's nothing to stop them, not even any PD. Absolutely nothing. So the main base of Tessin is now under huge threat. You'll folks, note they've switched up to some point events over here. There's a trade going on up, but if they can kill off the engineers, that's going to get nowhere. And in fact, they could just kill off so much of the space. It's not funny. The triad does not complete. The point defense down here does not complete. The Othams are in the middle of Tessin's base, as well as all the Zuis, so they can focus down their HQ, and he's going to have a terrible time of it. Stingers do come in from Glassy, but is it going to be too little too late? Could they focus down? They need to focus down that T3 HQ. That will just delay units coming out there. After that's done, they can then have a look at going for some of the eco. In fact, they've killed off 3 mass extractors there. The HQ does go down. They now start to focus on another mass extractor, and that is just brutality. Absolute brutality on the base of Tessin. He's lost so much, and now they can kill off the power perhaps. Oh, his tension's elsewhere. There's a few Zuis left. Oh, they're going for the T3 power. Is it going to be enough to kill it? I think it will be. Last shell. The very last surviving shell from the last Zui kills off the T3 power, and Tessin's going to be spewing. In the middle though, it is experimental time. We have the GC from Tex supported by some Harbingers, some anti-air. No sniper bots though, which is what's happening this way. The sniper bots and the mobile artillery are dealing down damage. Oh, donut though. So Tex is like, you know what? I'm just going to build a donut. I'm pretty sure we've got here. I'm going to build a donut. And his commander's still up the front, although he is in retreat just as well, because that's a chicken that would make short work of his commander. And Donut only loses about half of its shields. We see Glassy's ACS are all over the place. They're very much in position to help that out. Up this way we see the GC from Shokaku that is walking on up, or maybe thinking about running back, because what can they do against this Donut? They need a whole lot of anti-air. We see another chicken out from the Rex. He's got 2 chickens on the ground now, but the problem is the air game. They're very much behind in the air game and need to get there on. But yeah, Hassan has just been, he's had a bad time, but he's been raided so many times he's going to be sick and tired of that happening. Alright, but the Donut is coming up this way. Up, that's Azeroth. His commander is well out front. There's not enough anti-air on the ground, and I think we're going to see Azeroth to be the first ejection from the game at the 30 minute, just under 31 minutes, and that Tsar gets herself a big kill on there. Azeroth's caught out the front, but now what is the Donut going to do? He's got some ASFs coming in from the wreck. Donut has to die. Really no other option about it. They're going to get a good amount of damage done on there, but is it going to be enough? No, not enough ASFs at all. And Glassy comes around with his swarm, and that is going to be an air wipe again. They're going to need a bunch of anti-air on the ground, and when I say a bunch, I mean a whole lot, because that Tsar is just causing problems wherever it goes. We have some T1 anti-air, got a couple of bits of flak up this way, but really it's free for this thing to roll around and destroy the space. Got some SAMs up there which it focuses down first, because hey, anti-air doesn't want to get shot down out of the sky. It is down into the yellow, so it's taking a bit of damage. Long way till its next reactive veterancy. We do have flak all around. We do have some T1 AA as well. About half dead on the health side of things. Maybe not be able to stay around too much longer. Right down this way we have a Fat Boy in the mid, and this is Glassy with a Fat Boy raining shells and destruction down over this way. It's going to force the hand of the wreck, so he's either going to have to walk forwards or walk backwards. You can't just sit there doing both, but sending in units piecemeal towards this GC's a worse idea. One by one they come in and they all die, but the Yothotas are now moving on up there, picking up some targets of opportunity here. A whole bunch of units there are dying. GC has stepped forward a little bit, but they're just trying to twist and turn some to avoid the incoming rain of fire. GC from Shokaku is looking to join the party as well, and that's actually looking pretty dangerous. Might have a Fat Boy, might have a GC, but that's up against a GC and 2 Yothotas over this way. That is not a good old look. How's that Tsar doing? Well, it's still got 20,000 health, and it's just finishing mopping up the base over here, because simply it can. Alright, GC is walking down this way and is hoovering up the units of Glassy in the middle. Some Percival is standing still. GC is taking Fat Boy 5 to the face, but it's got support of Harbingers as well, and those Percys are going to have a grand old time. Down here we can see this chicken dies approximately the same time as the GC. It does have a tank in its claw, which when it falls to the ground does die. So that's an interesting little thing I have never noticed before, and that would be the Billy Nuke. There it is, so there we go. That is Tassin, Billy Nuke on his commander. He's lobbed it this way. He's trying to do some damage onto the GC, or at least the units. If that GC keeps walking and gets range of the Fat Boy is done for. But down this way, the second chicken, nothing to slow it down. Some flak, a sniper, and some T3 anti-air, but otherwise there's not a heck of a lot in that Donut. Maybe they need to think about bringing it down, but that's another chicken over here. It's been caught out by some air. There's a lot. Oh, Stinger's sitting overhead. There is some flak over this way. I could run towards, some more flak over there. Some ASFs look at coming on in, but they get obliterated. What the heck hit them? I don't know. But that is possibly going to be a dead chicken. But really, it's all about this here. GC has gotten range of the Fat Boy, and the Fat Boy is going to die. Too much health left on that GC, even with support coming on in. And we're going to say goodbye, Fatty. What has happened to the chicken? Well, it's redirected, actually. The chicken has decided to come down in this direction. All these units were behind it. There's a lot of flak as well. Try and support the chicken. They've got to do something about that. Tsar. And here we go. The GC has been hovered by this Donut, taking that Independence Day beam to the head. And there's not a lot I can do about that except slowly take it, and eventually it's going to die. Which now leaves the Tsar to go for the chicken. The chicken has a lot of health. There's tier 1 bombers floating around. There's a bunch of flak moving on up as well. And the question is it enough flak? Well, Tsar has got a shield back. We'll watch what happens to the health once that shield runs out. Down it goes. That is a lot of flak, I tell you. 25. Look at the health just melt off that thing there. A huge amount of flak. And in fact, it's enough flak that it runs away. Doesn't want to stay overhead. All of that comes over here instead to start working on some siege tanks. Maybe get another rank of veneracy, but some ASFs coming from the wreck and they have got it down into the red. That is looking like a very unhealthy Tsar. 3,000, 2,000 health. The ASFs is the last one. Gets out of there with sub 2,000 health. Oh my word. Just gets out of there. Only needed that little bit more. This chicken, however, is having Percy problems. It's got 5 of them chasing up in the back. It's got T1 bombers and strats overhead. It's not long for this world. You can watch that die all day, every day, they say. More strats, more damage. Does have a couple of ranks of veneracy, but it's not going to get much more done out of there. But that has opened up this whole section of the middle of the playing field. They're push them right on back, having a good time. Donut all the way back here, now regenerating health. The shield is also going back up. So that is a good time for Tex. Just get that up. He does have another depending GC here. Just about the right time actually to start taking out all of this. But there is another chicken. So Rick is not resting on his laurels over this way. Oh, is that a laser? Sorry, a satellite. That is a satellite indeed. So Glassy has air, had a fat boy, he's lost that, and he's got another fat boy back here. He does have the satellite, defense satellite. I say defense satellite, but let's be honest, nobody uses it for defense. Everybody attacks with the damn thing. And it is going after the Rex base. Looking to try and pick off some of the eco. You've got a mass extractor over there. Looks like he's killed a couple of T3 pigeons and a nuke. Oh dear, nuke out from Tix, so he's been working on that and I completely missed it. Question is, where is that going for? The answer is somewhere. We see Yathota versus Chicken here, and to be honest, that could be actually a really close battle. Yes, the Chicken has much less health, but it does so much more damage output than the GC, and the nuke has gone up here, and you've got to feel sorry for Privet. You feel like he's just getting back into the game, he's just got his eco sorted, and then he gets nuked, and he's back to the Stone Age. But thanks to the assistance of whalers and T1 bombers, a lot of T1 bombers. Look at the murdering that just happened here. How many sniper bots was that? That's brutality. So many T1 bombers, and there's all these sniper bots are going to have a terrible time of it. Oh dear. Once he's coming from the wreck, they're going to have a go at all those, but I'd say that's what's kept this GC alive. All those T1 bombers onto the chicken, made murderous. Right down this way, this very heavily hurt chicken needs to start eating some strat bomber fire, and is going to die in an ill-advised spot right by the units from Shikaku, so they're going to get caught out by the lightning storm that comes after death. That's going to start being free kills for Team 2. Alright, ACF 17 up from Shikaku as well though. They're going to thin out some of those strat bomber numbers. Is managing to hold up this side, although there is T3 on the way. Facing off against a bunch of flapjacks. You want to keep moving. Have yourselves a good time on there. Left hand side, that's the wounded donut, is just picking off whatever it can over this way. Shield is going down because there's a bit of flak and some T3 anti-air in the mix over this way. So it looks like it should be okay though. If we can pick off the anti-air first, it'll be quite healthy, quite happy, quite alright. Lightning storm is still ongoing. The swarms of T1 bombers continue. How many Zeus do you want to fire on out? GC is very hurt, but still working around. Says Nova has done laser. Actually going to go for a sneaky laser upgrade. Well, no, he's got that. He's got cloak. That's fine. The air wing over here from Shokaku, that gets caught in a... Oh, actually does a very good turn onto Zaznova's ASFs and turns them into piles of scrap. and it's now free to do things like kill off these T1 bombers which are trying to kill some T3 mass extractors. Not going to get a lot done though. And I'm hearing another chicken. There it is. It's going to have some fun against that bunch of pieces. It's got some support which will distract the pieces long enough for it to get a good bunch of damage on those. This way we see Rambo comms. So Shokaku's got some random Rambo comms up here ready to rock. A pair of Aeon Rambo comms, heavily shielded, and of course they do have the area of effect damage with their guns, which will be able to slow down pretty much everything going that way. Air fight in the middle, and this looks like it could have been a bad turn from the wreck. Well, having said that, this air is flying over all of this flak. You don't want to do that. That's a lot of damage coming off there. And indeed the ASFs from Glacier Retreat, but they are heavily damaged, all of them. I don't think there's only a couple of left in the green. The rest are yellow and red. Very, very heavily damaged, and it won't take much to kill those off. Down here, Fatboy, Puss and Juicy, ready and rocking here of donuts over there ready to go. That is that Billy Nuke again. And that is Tassin having some fun there. And Privet's base is just simply no more. I think he's basically given up on this game. He's now standing there assisting the SMD. He might as well use his comm as a unit. Might as well come down here and start shooting things. Make a little bit of a difference. At the moment there's not much you can do. Satellite is picking off the eco at the back unshielded. No assistance there to help it, and that is going to go on down. SMD is not loaded, but very close to being loaded. Question, is there another nuke ready to go? Just about, actually. The wee bit behind the SMD, so it's got a wee ways to go. And look at the bloody engineer spam coming out from Zasnova. All the NGs, all the T1 bombers. But this here, oh no, sneaking around the back. Have they seen them? Oh, the answer is yes, they have now. Have they got enough to stop them? The answer is no. Answer is unequivocally no. There's a defending chicken sitting here, which would have been great if anything should come along on the ground. There's a second chicken just about done off this way. But now they're focusing down on Privet, and Privet is going to get himself lasered, and Wreck has actually died from something else as well. So that is Privet and Wreck out of the game. Very close proximity to other. Very close proximity to each other. Sorry, words are hard apparently. But these Zars are now 2 versus 1 on this side. There are some ASS loitering around as well, trying to take care of things. Is there any anti-air on the ground? Well, not much if any. And they are now free to simply wander around and do as they please. Seems like they are homing in not for the commander, they're going for the SMD. Indeed, they're sitting straight over it. And I think that was a control K if anything I saw, and down it goes into the SMD, and it is gone. Where is his commander? Well, he's over here trying to get a shield upgrade over there, but that's a shit ton of flak. Let's see what happens to the health on these things when it comes in, and all the flak opens up. All the flak opens up indeed. Look at the health drop off those. Down is the red so quickly. Down goes one Zar. Is this momentum enough to drop it onto the commander? It is. Oh, that's some damage. Still alive, if barely. Not anymore. Second Zar does the job just before it gets shot down by the flak, and then the body rolls into the flak anyway. So Shokaku does double donut death. Had a nuke coming towards his main base as well, unfortunately. So even if he somehow survived those donuts, he was still in a terrible shape.